All right, this lesson's called Trapezoids. Our goal for today is I can identify the properties of a trapezoid. Go ahead and rate yourself on the scale of 1, 2, 3. All right, so first off, the definition of a trapezoid. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral, meaning that it has 4 sides, but it has exactly one pair of parallel sides, and those would be opposite sides. So here's an example of what a trapezoid looks like. So there's the 2 parallel sides in this trapezoid. It's the top and the bottom, but it doesn't necessarily have to be what it's sitting on. If this was turned just rotated 90 degrees, these 2 would still be the bases. So the 2 parallel sides are called bases. Each of the parallel sides is a base. The non-parallel sides, those are the 2 sides that connect the bases, those are called legs. Then we have 2 consecutive angles whose common side is a base. So if you look at this trapezoid right here, this is one of our bases. 2 angles that touch that base, those are called base angles. And if you come here, these 2 together are base angles. Now, if you're like, you just named out 4 angles, these 2 together are not base angles. Okay, so there's pairs of base angles, but they both have to touch the same base. All right, so let's talk about a more specific type of trapezoid, and that's when we have congruent legs. When there's 2 congruent legs of a trapezoid, this is called an isosceles trapezoid. In an isosceles trapezoid, the legs are congruent, which is what we get by definition. But we also have the base angles are congruent. So, in this case, this angle and this angle are on one of my parallel sides, which is not marked, so it should be marked, but it says it in there that it's an isosceles trapezoid up top. So those 2 angles are congruent, those base angles, and then these base angles are congruent to each other. Another thing that I should know, and this is not just in an isosceles trapezoid, but we have same side interior angles are supplementary. So what we mean by that is remember that we have parallel lines. We're cut by a transversal. These are same side interior angles, and same side interior angles are supplementary. The same thing goes over here. These are same side interior angles, and same side interior angles are supplementary. If we go back to our trapezoid over here, our non-isosceles trapezoid, we still have same side interior angles, which are supplementary here. And then these 2 same side interior angles are supplementary here. It's just that in a non-isosceles trapezoid, these 2 are not congruent, and these 2 are not congruent. All right, so let's do some problems and see what we get here. So if you look at this, sometimes it'll say what if it's an isosceles trapezoid or just a trapezoid up here, but the directions here say find all the variables that you can. And if you look at the picture, I can tell it's a trapezoid because it has 1 pair of parallel sides, but I also know it's an isosceles trapezoid because it has these 2 legs that are equal. So it says find all the variables that you can. I can see that I can get u right away. Those 2 sides are the same, so u is 6. I cannot get w. I don't know what w is because it's not the same length as the other base. So we don't know what w is. We're going to say that it's not possible. And really, it's not possible yet. In the future, second semester, we could find it. But with what we know right now, we can't do it. All right, since it's an isosceles trapezoid, we know base angles are congruent. So this is 100. Y is 100. And then also in an isosceles trapezoid, or I shouldn't even say also an isosceles trapezoid, in a trapezoid, we have same side interior angles right here, which are supplementary. So x is 80 degrees. And then base angles are still congruent, so this is also 80 degrees. Or you could have used the fact that these are same side interior angles right here. All right, let's try another one. Here, find the values of any variable that you can. This is not an isosceles trapezoid. This is just a trapezoid. So I don't have to work with any of the legs or any of the bases. It's not asking me any of those questions, but it is asking me about the angles. Remember, base angles are not congruent, so this 64 and x are not the same. I don't know what x is, and I don't know what y is due to not knowing what x is, and I don't know what x is due to not knowing what y is. However, I can get z because once again I have parallel lines. Here's a transversal. These are same side interior angles, and same side interior angles are supplementary. So if I do 180 minus 64, I get 116. So z is 116 degrees, and I don't know x. I'm going to put NP for not possible, and I don't know y. All right. Here's some practice. So this is all now mixed practice. It's not just trapezoids. If we move through it, well, the first three are, then we have rhombi, square, and rectangle. So it's just a good practice of everything now that we've learned trapezoids, okay? All right, so if you want to practice these on your own, you can pause the video, try them, come back, see how you did, or you can do them along with me. All right, this one says find the missing information in each diagram. So it's a trapezoid, so I can say that these are my parallel sides. It doesn't say isosceles, so I don't know any other information. So it doesn't have any X, Y, or Z in it. So I need to, I don't know how that didn't print. It didn't show up. Oh, it's just find anything that you can find. That's what it is. Okay. So I can't find this. It's not going to be possible, right? It's not 9. And I can't find this because given one base, it doesn't make me know the other this semester. All right. So what I do know is that these are parallel lines. This is a transversal. These are same side interior angles, so they're supplementary. 180 minus 73 is 107, so that's 107 degrees. And I cannot find this angle. I cannot find this angle. I know that the base angles are not congruent, so I know it's not 107 and 73. All right, so the only thing I can find is that 107 in this one. All right, once again, find any, what does it say? Find any missing information, right? So it's just find any missing information. Okay. All right, so this is an isosceles trapezoid. Isosceles trapezoid have 2 congruent legs, so I know this is 15. I don't have enough information to find the base, but I know in an isosceles triangle, base angles are congruent, so this is 114. And then these 2 angles are same side interior angles. So 180 minus 14 is 66 degrees. So base angles are congruent, 66 degrees. All right, let's move on to the next example, which is another isosceles trapezoid. Okay, so isosceles trapezoid, I'm going to fill in the base angles first, 43 degrees. I'm going to do the legs that are congruent, 13. I'm going to do the other base angles because these 2 are supplementary. So I'm going to do 180 minus 43, which is 137 degrees. This one's split, so I don't know well, I guess I do know each one individually. I was going to say I don't know, but this is a right triangle. This is 90. I can do 90 plus 43 and then 180 minus that. Or I can do 90 minus 43. Either way, I get 47 degrees. And then remember, this whole thing was 137. So I could do 137 minus 47, but I also know that this is a right angle. So this is 90 degrees. All right, so let's see what else I can find. I know this base up top. I'm going to highlight what I'm talking about. This base up top right here is 14. If I drop another altitude right here, I know that from here to here in green is 14. That makes this, the whole piece from here to here, 19. 19 minus 14 is 5, so that makes this 5. And that makes this 5 because they have to be the same, right? I could also find the height right now, right? If you look, the height is part of a right triangle. So let's find that height. X squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. X squared plus 25 equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides. X squared equals 144. Square root plus or minus, square root plus or minus, x equals, I'm not going to do plus or minus because it is a height, which is a positive distance. So I'm actually going to get rid of my plus or minus and just take the positive answer, and I get 12. So the height of this trapezoid is 12. Okay, this height is also 12 because it's the height. All right, let's see what's next. Next, we have a rhombus. Remember, in a rhombus, all 4 sides are congruent. So I can mark down that all of these sides are 17, 17, 17, 17. I know that diagonals bisect each other. So this diagonal, which is 15, is equal to this diagonal, which is 15. I know that this diagonal, which is not labeled, is congruent, this piece, I should say, is congruent to this one. I don't know that yet, but I will be able to figure it out. I know that these 4 angles are 90 degrees because those 2 lines are perpendicular, so you can put a box in there, or you can put 90s on all of them. I can figure out this angle right here because I can do 90 minus 56 or 90 plus 56, 180 minus that. Either way, I get 34 degrees. I know that the diagonals bisect the angles, so I know this is 34 degrees. I know alternate interior angles are congruent, so this is 34 degrees. This is 34 degrees. 56 degrees, 56 degrees, 56 degrees. Lastly, I can get this piece right here. It's the leg of a right triangle. Here's my 90-degree angle. And I know that one of them is the leg that I'm looking for, which I'll call X. One of the legs is 15 and the hypotenuse is 7. So I can do Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. It's also a triple, so if you have your triples memorized, you can jump to that. X squared plus 225 is equal to 289. Subtract 225 from both sides. X squared is equal to 64, and then square root, I'm just going to account for the positive answer, 8. So this piece is 8, and this piece is 8. Now we found all pieces of the rhombus, all the missing information. All right, next one is a square. Okay, so square has all the properties of a rhombus. So these are all 90. I'm just going to put boxes in there because that's also saying they're 90. Diagonals bisect each other and they're congruent. So this is 18, 18, 18, and 18. And the diagonals bisect the angles. The angles are 90-degree angles, so these are all 45 degrees. The last thing that I can figure out is the sides. What I can use to figure out the sides is I can actually do 2 different equations. I'm going to stick with this one using this right triangle or any of the other 3 right triangles. So I have a right triangle right here. I know this is 18, I know this is 18, and I don't know the hypotenuse, so I'll call it x. And then I'll do 18 squared plus 18 squared is equal to x squared. I'm going to need my calculator for this because I do not know what this decimal answer is. So let me get my calculator up and running. All right, get my, no thanks, calculator here, and then I'll split screen with it. Should have had that ready to go, but didn't realize I was going to need it. All right, so I need 18 squared, which is 324. So I have 324 plus 324 is equal to x squared. I need to add 324 and 324, which is 648. And now I need a square root. Once again, I don't have to worry about the negative answer because it doesn't have a negative length. And let's round to the nearest tenth. It doesn't say where to round. I guess I could leave it as 18 root 2, but let's do 25.5. So the nearest tenth. Remember, all sides of a square are equal. So I'm going to say all 4 sides are 25.5. Okay, let's move on to the last one, which is a rectangle. All right, so for a rectangle, I know opposite sides are congruent. So this is 12, this is 16. I also know that the angles are right angles, so I can find this angle right here. So 90 minus 23 is 68. And then another thing that I know that's going to make it go by faster is that this is an isosceles triangle. No, it's not. Yes, it is. This is because the diagonals bisect each other and they're congruent. So this is an isosceles triangle over here. So base angles are congruent, so that's 68. This is 23. This is another isosceles triangle, so base angles are congruent, 68, 68, 23. Then I can get this missing angle by using the triangle sum theorem. 23 plus 23 is 46. 180 minus 46 is 134. And then this is 134 because vertical angles are congruent. And then 180 minus 34 is 46 degrees. Vertical angles are congruent, degrees. Okay. All right, that's it for today's notes and practice. You can go ahead and re-rate yourself on I can identify the properties of a trapezoid. All right, that's it.